And welcome back to State Champs Hockey Time Live. I'm Jonathon Kidd along with Sean Baligian. It's the final week of the high school season. It seemed like we were just here in November.
I know. We were just talking about it, Johnny. I'm going to miss it. I mean, here, obviously this weekend is huge, but I'm going to miss it going away. It's such a great season full of so many great people, and there are more great stories to be written this weekend as well. So really looking forward to seeing everybody at USA Hockey Arena this weekend.
State Champs Hockey Time is presented by our friends at the Alta Equipment Company. As I say every week, great partners for our show.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Honestly, we're so blessed to have so many friends like Alta. So thank you.
So before we get going in our previews of the semifinals, what was your take of the quarterfinals?
It's a good question, John. I think a couple things come to mind. I think, you saw teams kind of flex their muscle and say this is why we've been one of the favorites all year. And I think you saw some interesting storylines as well. I mean, if you've been paying attention to the season, I think you have to look at what Baker and Lakeland is doing. I think that's one story that jumps out. If you've been paying attention, maybe you're not all that surprised. And the other one I talked about at the beginning of the playoff, and it's like a yearly event. It's how's J.J. Bamberger and Saginaw Heritage going to find their way to USA Hockey Arena? I mean, nothing but respect for that guy. It's funny, I talked to J.J. after the game, and Johnny, you know him. He's a good guy. Never wants anybody to talk him up, so I know I'm ticking him off right now. Yeah. He goes, I got a great staff. He goes, I got a bunch of great kids. They actually listen to me. So there they are at USA Hockey Arena again. But this is going to be fantastic. I mean, this is what it's all about, punching that ticket to USA Hockey Arena. And, starting Thursday night and all day Friday and all day Saturday, boy, this is what it's all about in the great state of Michigan.
If you're a coach on one of these teams that are in the semifinals right now, what would be your message to these kids? Just savor, cherish this moment?
Yeah, I think enjoy the moment, no doubt. Go play your game. Don't overthink it. I think the tendency is to, grip it a little bit and everything, Johnny. But honestly, it's like enjoy the ride. This isn't easy. It's not easy to get to USA Hockey Arena. Don't overthink things. Go out and play your game. You earned your way to USA Hockey Arena. Don't go changing things now. Go out there and do what you know you're capable of.
All right, so we're going to preview the semifinals, and we're going to begin in Division II. Before we really get going, you can watch these games on MHSA.TV over the weekend, and we're going to start in Division II, the first game at 5 p.m. tomorrow night. Byron Center taking on Saginaw Heritage. What's your thoughts?
Well, let's start with Saginaw Heritage as Byron Center comes walking on. Yeah, there they are. All right, fantastic. Junior Trevor Selk has been really good in net for them. I think that jumps out. I think Gome and Mellon up front. But so much of what they do, John, is the dynamic Owen Turner. He does so much for that team. If you remember, this is a guy, you've seen him play on the blue line. You've seen him play forward. I bet he could play goaltender if he was pressed to do it. So, they find a way. They're a well-coached team. I talked up JJ earlier. And then, you talk about Byron Center. Jordan's one of the best out there. Yeah. No doubt about that. We talk so much about their top guys, and deservedly so, whether it be Freusland or Pratt. I think McKee's a guy that deserves some love. Pisano is another guy, and then Swanson in net. But look, they've been the class of D2 all year, certainly the class of the West Side. John, I said it at the start. I'll say it now. I think they're the team to beat.
And what will it take for Byron Center to win this game tomorrow night?
I think Byron Center, much like we were talking about at the beginning of the show, play your game. Drive hard to the net like that. Try to find some garbage.
Swanson has to play well.
Yeah, do the little things. Do the little things that I think that they've done, and they're going to be okay. I like the way they go to the net. You make things happen up front. You got a good goaltender in the back that certainly can get your back if need be.
So Saginaw Heritage, there's no stranger to USA Hockey Arena. What will it take for them to win this game?
I think, let me flip the script now. Keep the front of the net clear. Allow Selk to do that. As I mentioned, BC's a team that's going to go to the net, drive to the net really hard. Allow your goaltender to see the puck and play your game. There's a reason why they have so much success year in, year out, finding their way to USA Hockey Arena. Just make sure you clear the road for your goaltender. And as far as I'm concerned, go out there and let your stars be stars. And Owen Turner certainly is one of the brightest stars out there.
All right, so here's our prediction to win the Division II semifinal between Byron Center and Saginaw Heritage. Well, we have Byron Center going to the state final, so we have to stick with our pick.
Yeah, I can't go back. I felt this way from day one of the season. I still feel this way now. I think this is destiny for Byron Center, but you know what they say about destiny. Sometimes all it takes that one team that hears all that talk and plays above their head, whatever the case may be. It's not as easy as it is to say it, John, but I like BC.
And in the other semifinal at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, we have Trenton taking on Lakeland. Lakeland is making this run.
It's been outstanding. As you take a look at the Trojans there, no surprise. There's your surprise. Yep. But, John, as I said earlier, should it be a surprise? I mean, this is a team that played well.
That was a great overtime winner there against Port Huron Northern.
Absolutely. This is a team that's played well all season, including a game, many months ago now against Trenton that I think opened a lot of eyes when they went down to Kennedy and only lost by a goal. Obviously people are going to talk about Baker. There's no doubt about that. But Scanlon and Slicker and Smith and Verbeek, is so many pieces to like about this team. Johnny, we've had them ranked basically all year. This is a darn good team, this Lakeland squad. As far as Trenton goes, I said it since the early part of the year. I thought they were probably number 2 in Division II and amongst the top teams regardless of division. And so much of it starts, you got a great player in Barrett, but, you got Boston. You got 2 different goaltenders that can come at you. You've got that tenacity that Trenton is known for. It's going to be very fun to see this one. This one's really intriguing. It's one of the games, in these semifinals that I kind of put a circle around, Johnny.
Yeah, so Trenton's in the semifinals for the second time in 3 years. You talked a lot about Trenton there, but what will it take for them to win? Obviously, they have 2 good goaltenders with Civi and Miklos. You don't know who's going to be in net tomorrow, but yeah, you have great scoring too.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. I think to me, John, this is play your game. I hate to sound like a broken record, but they have good depth. They have a bunch of tenacity. I think if they play their game, they're going to have to earn some goals in this one, though, Johnny. This is where you put the head down. Maybe you get on the lunch pail and that hard hat and you drive to the net a little bit, try to make life miserable on Baker.
And speaking of Lakeland, what will it take to win this game? Obviously, it starts with Paul Baker.
It does, and you know what? To me, they weren't that far away from knocking off Trenton in that first game low back in November. This is a team that's only gotten better. There's something to be said about having a guy like Baker on your squad. And what I mean by that is it's confidence. And that guy's in the back end and he's going to be able to take care of things, Johnny. And I think that makes your whole team better. They're going to have to work like they haven't worked before. I think they know that, considering, they fell just short in that game down in Kennedy. But this should be a dandy. I really like this game. I like this matchup.
So Lakeland has won, 2 games in a row against MIHL teams. Is there going to be a third in the cards?
I'm going to call for a repeat of that game at Kennedy. 3-2 game, something like that. 3-2 game, 4-3 game. I think just a little bit too much for Trenton. And as you said, I think it's a good benefit when you have 2 different goaltenders, whether it be Civi, whether it be Miklos, that you can throw out there. But don't be shocked when you've got a goaltender playing as well as Baker is. How many times have we seen it in the semifinals and the finals, Johnny, the whole hot goaltender thing? But I'm going to go with Trenton by a goal.
Yeah, I have Trenton winning 4-2. And we're also going to expect probably Tornado Allen, Trenton's biggest fan, to be there on tomorrow night.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. He's a treat, no doubt about that. One of the biggest fans out there, and that's the coolest thing about it, John. Is you
get a super fan with every team.
Yeah,
you get that one fan every time we go to games. It's that one fan that wants to talk to us, or just that really supports their team.
And running into so many old friends, guys that maybe you haven't seen that much during the course of the year, running into a lot of old friends. That's always a fun part of being at USA.
So this is the 50th year of hockey being an MHSA sport. I want to throw a little flashback for you. So Trenton has won a bunch of state titles. But watch this. So this is the 2004 Division II Hockey State Final. My buddy Andy Leggett said, you never show the video of us winning the 2004 title. They beat Mona Shorts. Guess who was on that team? on Mona Shores. Justin Applicator.
Familiar with his
Yeah,
work.
he won Mr. Hockey that year, and Trenton won this game. Some great highlights there. There's Jacob Shearing there, and it was a great win for them. That's when they won back-to-back state titles. And coming up soon, in just a second, when they won it in 2014. Remember this one against Heartland?
Yeah, great game.
Yeah, we talked to Mike Turner after the game, and he told you off camera that he was done. It was I think it was 8-3. You got Quinn Preston there. He went to Ohio State. A high school kid going on to play college hockey.
Yeah, you loved it. That team was awesome. That was a really, really good team.
And guess who won the Warrior Hockey Player of the Year? He is coming up right there. Oh, Andrew Scheuer.
I remember that. Boy, was that 10 years ago?
Yeah, that is 10 years ago.
Isn't that crazy? Look at that hair as well.
Yeah, he hasn't aged.
No, he hasn't. Yeah, he's a great guy, still doing great things in the MHSAA hockey community and the Sawyer brothers and everything. But
Griffin, he was on that team.
That was I like the hair. What was it?
Well, they do that. They dye the hair. Mm-hmm. Some, I know Will Barrett has the blue hair right now. He's the only blue. The rest is all blonde.
Yeah, didn't he had it blue and then he said it turned green or something, right?
Well, yeah. Andrew in that video,
isn't that interesting how that works itself out? But yeah, hey, such a rich history. I'll say it again. I know I said it a few weeks ago, but I think it bears repeating. I think this is Trenton's best team since that team that won it all in 2014, and we'll see how it plays out. That's saying a lot, John, when you think of all the great teams that they've had certainly since then.
All right, we go to Division III, the semifinals that are going to be played on Friday. Let's talk about the first one at 11 a.m. Houghton taking on Cranbrook.
I like this game a lot because, listen, there's your prohibitive favorite. I mean, much like we were talking.
Cranbrook's the underdog. They won the most state titles in MHSA history, and they are the underdog going in this.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, Houghton, I think, has kind of been number one all year, much like we were talking about with Byron Center. And so much to like. I mean, Millette obviously is a guy that people are going to keep an eye on. I like Arco a lot. They have 3 different solid defense pairings that they can throw at you, and then they have an outstanding goaltender as well in Lee. So Micah picked up where they left off last year, and now the Gremlins would love nothing more than to come down here and finish the job. As far as Cranbrook goes, Johnny, you could see it when we saw them in Trenton during the showcase. You could see it. They were playing the right way. They've been shorthanded. They've had some injuries. But again, when you add a goaltender like Garrett Dudler, I mean, he's been outstanding for them this year. Goldstein had a big playoff. Tim Cole's a guy that had a couple apples in the last game as well. Not a lot of people had Cranbrook going this far. I know I did. Yeah. But it doesn't surprise me at all that they're here. The most important thing, John, is to have your boys playing the right way at the right time, and you have to give a tip of the cap to Coach LaFontaine for that.
So Houghton is back. Last year they had that, the overtime loss to East Grand Rapids. I know you talked a little bit there, but what is it going to take for them to win this game?
Play their game.
Yeah.
Seriously, don't think about what happened last year. Don't think about all the times you've fallen just short. Go out there and let these guys go. I had a chance to talk to Micah after the win against the Sioux, and he said they went out there and, a big win against a darn good Sioux club. I mean, I think everybody knows how good Sioux was, but Houghton went out there and played their game. Let them be loose. Let them go do what they're capable of, and I think Houghton's going to be okay when you got a guy like Lee. For Cranbrook?
Yeah, let's talk about Cranbrook. What's going to take for win this game?
I think it's going to take a Herculean effort out of their goaltender, and he's a guy that has shown it.
Some scoring, maybe 1 or 2 goals might do it.
Really, I wouldn't be surprised at all, John, if this ended up being the type of game that we saw last year against EGR, where goals are going to be hard to come by, and it's the guy who can score the big goal or the goaltender that can make the big stop that's going to be all the difference in the world. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if it wasn't like that. 2-1, 3-2, something like that.
So we're going to stick with our prediction, obviously, because we both have Houghton going to the state championship game. And, we're going to go back, keep going with our, past footage of the past. Cranbrook here in 2021, they won the Division III Hockey State Final. This was their last title. It's weird, like the COVID year there.
Yeah. I'm glad they got it underway. No doubt about that. Boy, was that a darn good team, huh?
And they beat Calumet.
Yeah, that was a loaded Calumet team as well.
One of the 25 million locusts on the team.
Yeah, no doubt.
But congratulations to Cranbrook that year.
Yeah, they were something, and it was cool to hear them chirp at us a little bit afterwards. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, what was the line? Put some respect on our name
Yeah,
or something.
even
Like,
though you-
I had you in the top 5 all year. What are you guys? But you know what? You just
Yeah.
go, yeah, you're right. But as I remember, though, in fairness to the boys from the Cranes, I think we all did pick against them. I think we all thought that Coach Chiquino and Calumet was going to get it done, but certainly Cranes deserving champion that year.
And in the second semifinal on Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock, East Grand Rapids, they're back in the Final Four. They're taking on the Bay Reps.
Yeah, another team right there, the Pioneers. Boy, I love the way they play. I think you have to give Coach Newton all the credit in the world for getting them going. Bay Reps, you know what? How many times have we said it, John? You can talk about how much talent you have. You can talk about how good you're going to be, et cetera, et cetera. And, boy, people have been chirping about Bay Reps. But you know what? Only those kids out on the ice can punch that ticket to USA, and that's exactly what those guys did. A lot of pressure. Listen, a lot of guys were talking about them and how good they were. I'm sure they heard it, but you know what? The most important thing is they realized it, and they punched their way back into USA Hockey Arena.
So East Grand Rapids coming off that big win over Orchard Lake St. Mary's in the quarterfinals. What's it going to take for them to get back to the state championship game on Saturday?
I think they have better depth than people want to give.
You really
them
like
credit
that Scotty
for.
Millman.
Yeah. Oh, I love that kid. Boy, you go to war with a kid like that. But, whether it be McKeegan or Green or Owen, I mean, there's so much. I really like Millman. Did I mention that? I like the way that kid played. And you know what? They got some darn good goaltending as well from Joe Green.
Joe Green?
In net. He's been solid in the playoffs. So they're playing the right way at the right time, Johnny. And most importantly, I think they're getting the kind of play that they want out of their goaltender right now.
And what about the Bay Reps?
Love this team. We saw them up in Traverse City. Obviously people are going to talk about Lucas. People are going to talk about Boynton Fisher, rightfully so. Maybe you should start talking about the other Boynton Fisher as well. Tyler Boynton Fisher, another sophomore goalie. Boy, it just seems like there's a plethora of sophomore goalies that we're going to have to keep our eye on, Johnny, moving into next year. I think that they're going to have to go because you know as well as I do, East Grand Rapids makes life miserable on you. You're not going to get a whole heck of a lot of quality scoring chances, and I think they're going to have to go have your best line, be your best line. And if Bay Reps can do that, if that line could go out there and be the number one line, Bay Reps have a really good chance at this one.
Yeah, but our predictions that we had earlier when the playoffs started, we both had East Grand Rapids.
I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, we have to.
You know what?
You can't backtrack.
I think it's another one-goal game. I really do. I think it's another one-goal game.
All right, so let's go to our comments. Let's go to Robbie Elliott. Oh, he's not here.
Yeah, where's Robbie at?
Yeah, Robbie decided to go to South Carolina this weekend.
Young man. How could anybody leave the week of the finals?
Yeah, look, let's cut. Yeah, look at that shot right there. Oh, nope, he's not there. Maybe we can do a hologram or something like that. He's probably drinking a lot of rock and rye right now.
Robbie, true story. I missed the finals 3 years ago. I was on vacation too, so it's not just enjoy your vacation.
Well, remember with COVID and everything, it got pushed to April, so you had a good.
Yeah, it was already planned.
Yeah.
It was funny. True story. I know I told you this. So I was down in Key West. I kid you not. I'm sitting there on my phone watching all this stuff by the ocean. Yep. It was like 85 degrees, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was.
Well, this week is almost 80.
Yeah, it was beautiful the other day, wasn't it?
Exactly.
50 degrees this weekend, though. I mean, I'm used to like freezing my tail off walking out of USA Hockey Arena after being there 71 hours. But it should be a blast.
Yeah, and I remember too 5 years ago. Well, first off, happy wedding anniversary to my beautiful wife Heather. But it was on Monday. But also too, I made sure I was back before the semifinals. So at least I was still a team player.
Good for you. You're better than me and Robbie, that's for sure. I'm down in Key West, and he's down in South Carolina. You know, what's he doing in South Carolina anyway?
Yeah, I know.
All right, enjoy yourself, Robbie.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week when you come back. I'm sure he's watching right now. All right, let's just continue here. Division I, the semifinals on Friday night. The first game at 5 p.m. Detroit Catholic Central taking on Muskegon Reeths-Puffer.
What a great story, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that good for them. Good for Reeths-Puffer to get it done.
And then you got to go play Detroit Catholic.
And then now you have to play. But you know what?
No, still, you made it.
Isn't that what everybody said the past few games. Like,
No,
I mean,
yeah.
who
we didn't pick them at all.
Who took Reeths-Puffer at all in really any of their games?
And congratulations to them.
100.
Yeah, we're not.
100%. Jackson Stone is a guy that I brought up at the beginning of the playoff. He had a big season, an even bigger playoff. How about this? 4 goals, 5 assists. Sophomore, another sophomore goaltender.
So that means what happens when you're a sophomore? You're going to be
a junior next year. Yeah. Sophomore Huck Van Dyke has been outstanding for them, and he's going to have to be outstanding on Friday. There's no doubt about that, taking on the juggernaut that is Catholic Central, to the surprise of absolutely nobody. Catholic Central is back once again. Those 4 lines, a darn good goaltender. Yeah. You know the drill. This is going to be a difficult proposition for anybody to beat Catholic Central.
Yeah, and Detroit Catholic Central, we have talked about them for years. This could be one of their deepest teams in a long
time. Up front.
Yep. But still, what will it take for them to win this game on Friday?
Catholic Central, I think utilize that depth. You're going to have
look
to
at that Iversol kid scoring.
I had somebody use the line to me that Reeths-Puffer has been playing like a football team on ice. That they just keep coming, and the only way that you can do that is play your game and roll those lines, and especially if you're playing physical. You're really going to be worn down. So if I'm Catholic Central, play your game. That's what they're so good at doing. You never see Catholic Central panic. It's been a long time since you've seen the Shamrocks panic. They're such a well-coached team. Play your game. Do what you do for 51 minutes.
Yeah, Muskegon Reeths-Puffer, I just really notified this. There's a West Side team in each division that's in the semifinals.
Yeah, and you know what? Good for them for punching the ticket because, John, just to repeat, nobody had them. You saw people picking Sparta. You saw people picking Forest Hill Central. You had
Northern Eastern.
I mean, no doubt about that. And yet there they are. And you know what? If they want to win this game, to me, you got to go out and do what has made you so successful this playoff run. And as I said, somebody said to me, they're playing like a football team. They're steamrolling, and you got to rely on that sophomore goaltender Huck Van Dyke as well.
So our predictions will stay the same. Detroit Catholic Central will beat Reeths-Puffer.
Yeah,
that's our prediction.
Yeah, absolutely. What does that mean? We've been wrong many times in the past.
Yeah, exactly. And in the other semifinal on Friday night at 7:30 p.m., Brighton taking on Clarkston. This is the third time they played each other.
Yeah, you know what? And
Brighton's up 2-0.
It's great to see. It's great to see Clarkston take that next step. They were fun last year, and they we're in for a rude awakening come playoff time. But to watch them take that next step has been awesome.
And this is highlights of their game earlier in the season. We've talked about Brighton. There's Watkins there. He was injured last week, but he'll be back for this game. What would it take for Brighton to go back to the championship game? I think it has to start up front. It has to start with Levi Pennell and Duffney and Petit.
I'm going to start. That's for me. It's which line can be better.
Yeah.
Which line can be better? You've got Duff and you've got Petit up there and Wade and Clarkston and Lynch. I think which line says we are going to dictate the terms on this game. Another sophomore goaltender, I might add.
Yep.
It's amazing. There are a few this weekend, but Brady Damien has been playing well. But boy, oh boy. You're talking about one of the top, if not the top goaltender out there. Of course, won the Wall last year, and he is playing extremely well right now in Levi with Brighton, John. You know what? To me, this comes down to, all right, which top line is going to flex its muscle and say, we're taking this game over, and that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and Clarkston, it's been a long time since they made it to the Final Four again. It was probably a good 20 years. And I know some Clarkston people DM me and said, thank you for not picking us. We like this. Don't pick us. But it's been a great story for them.
Oh, it's been fantastic for them. It's about taking steps. And again, this is how you become one of the usual suspects. And, I've heard a lot of people use that line the last few days, and I think it's cool. Yeah, have it. I don't need any credit for it. I mean, you want people to take you seriously. You want people to think of you as one of the usual suspects. Well, you have to find a way to get there. And, especially the way that They have done it this year. Clarkston, their schedule was tough. Who they had to beat to get here certainly was tough. You talked about beating the MIHL teams. This is a Clarkston team that had to beat some KLA teams on the way here. Can they beat another? I guess we'll find out on Friday.
So our predictions are going to, we picked Heartland to be here, so Clarkston to beat them this week. We have Brighton going to the state championship.
Yep. Yeah, I think it'll be a rematch of last year, and boy, it's going to be fun. I think I'm sorry I've gone on record for a while. I think if there's one team that can knock off Catholic Central, I think it's Brighton. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm picking Catholic Central. I want to make that crystal clear. But really, Brighton with their depth and having a guy, like Watkins on your blue line and a guy like Levi in net, that'll be fun, John. Yeah. If we get there, certainly Clarkston and Reeths-Puffer have something to say about that.
Yeah, so actually we'll show some flashback footage. So Kevin, go back to 21, file number 21. It is last year's state championship game between Brighton and Catholic Central. This was a tight game, 2-0. Brighton was coming off that triple overtime semifinal win, but this could be another tight game again if this happens.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. I think last year I never heard one guy from Brighton use this as an excuse, whether it be the players, whether it be the coaches. I think that 700 overtime game the night before really gassed them out, and that certainly didn't make it easy. Look, it's never easy against Catholic Central. Yep. I think that took a lot out of them the night before. It was one of the best high school games we had seen. I think anybody in the building would agree with that. And I think this year is going to be an even better game, John. I really do.
And we're going to show some Brighton state final footage over the years. The last time they won in 2017, they did beat Detroit Catholic Central, and then in 2018 they beat Saginaw Heritage.
I'm going to tell you what, that team in 2017
was a Conquest on that team?
Oh, gosh, were they unbelievable, right? They were, and that was a typical Brighton team that kind of got it going late in the year. And boy, oh boy, they took that game over. And then, as you mentioned, in 2018, it was a situation where, they just kept her going. And they weren't even the favorite, if you remember. They really weren't. They weren't the favorite that year, but they got it going. And, boy, they got it going right now. That's a darn good team out in Brighton.
Well, good luck to all the teams in the semifinals this weekend. And we got a big announcement coming up here after the break. We're going to reveal our Final Four for the Wall Award and the Player of the Year. So check it out here on State Champs Hockey Time.
At Alto Equipment, we know when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. Alto Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction, including Volvo, Leeboy, Sonnebogen, Avant, ASV, and more to provide the state of Michigan with industry-leading service and support. Alto Equipment services all makes and models, and their technicians are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you have a big project? Alta Rents has you covered with the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan. Give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Your curiosity takes shape, drawing you into the unknown, where the science and art of tomorrow are waiting for you. You'll find your calling is closer than imagined. The College of Arts and Sciences at Lawrence Technological University has all the technology and tools to make magic. Be curious. Make magic.
Looking for a score, a schedule, a story? MHSAA.com has you covered. Our newly redesigned website has everything you need to follow high school sports in Michigan. And it's optimized for mobile use. Fans can submit scores on a Friday night, check playoff pairings and game times, or read about the student athletes from your community. Your first stop is MHSAA.com. Connect with us online and get everything you need all in one place.
And welcome back to State Champs Hockey Time. I'm Jonathon Kidd along with Sean Baligian. He got some food during the break.
Beef jerky.
Yeah. He's joined the meat club.
Very happy. I don't know if I ever left the meat club, but very happy. Thanks to our buddy John Watson for putting a smile on my face.
Yes,
Thank you, John.
Exactly. So this is now the time that people have been waiting for. We're going to be announcing our Final Four for the Wall Award and the Player of the Year. Before we get going, we've always said throughout the year, this is not the John Kidd Award. This is not the Sean Baligian Award. There's a committee that that's involved in this. So Sean, take it away. Explain how this goes about with our our Player of the Year in the Wall all year.
We have never changed the way that we've done it now, I think 11 years. So in the summertime, there are a lot of guys that are involved in some of the various things around the state. You guys know what they all are. And guys that get a chance to see people from all over the state. And I'm fortunate enough to go out to some of these things, whether it be in Farmington or Brighton or Novi or wherever the case may be, where guys are coming up from up north, coming from out west, whatever the case may be. And we start putting together the list in September. And the one thing that we say every show this year, and we usually make some quirk about it, is, Johnny, you can put that criteria on the screen. We follow.
It's coming up right now.
We follow our criteria to the T. And this was, John, I'm not just saying this. This was, at least for our Player of the Year, this was the most difficult job we had to do to whittle it down to 4.
Yeah, we spent all day Sunday with the committee and text messages.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
We spent the whole day.
That is not an understatement. It started Saturday afternoon and it went into Sunday, and so we all kind of wrote down our thoughts and based on our criteria. And you know what? I feel badly because it was very, very close, but in the end, we have to respect the process. And I think we've got a very, very formidable 4 that will represent us this year.
Yeah, so there's 3,500 kids that play high school hockey in the state of Michigan throughout the season. And the fact that you've been in the top 10 for the Warrior Hockey Player of the Year and the Wall Award, it's a special honor. And whatever happens when we announce our Final Four, it's special that you're a part of this.
No question. There's no doubt about that. I mean, whether you're a guy that's been on the list and, we made a move in a different direction, whether you're a guy that unfortunately didn't make the Final Four, to me, the best part about this, John, is that we have such a debate.
Yep.
That's a good thing, because that tells me that the caliber of player and the amount of players that are up for this award, it tells me exactly what my eyes are telling me, and that this product at this level in the state continues to grow each and every year, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like you said, this was a difficult process. I had my picks for it, you had your picks, and we had the committee, and we had to form it all in. We went through the criteria, and this is how we got to our Final Four.
Yeah, and that was, at the end of the day, regardless of, your opinion on this guy or your opinion on that guy, I think if you follow that criteria, and there's a reason why we put it up on the screen each and every week, this is what we came down to, John. But without further ado, do you have one of those cute little graphics? That
oh, yeah, it's coming. It's coming up. So we're going to do the Player of the Year first, and we're going to start with our online vote winner, and it's congratulations to Ron Wade from Clarkston, the junior, making it to the Final Four.
Look at Clarkston mount up. And let me tell you this. This is a kid that had a really good chance of making this list on his own. But as we talk about each and every year, this is why, Johnny, you have the online vote. So a community like Clarkston can mount up and get your guy in, and you leave nothing to chance.
Yeah. And what does it say? He's a junior. He's been a captain since his sophomore year.
Oh, it speaks volumes. And I wish I could sit here and say some of the things that other coaches say about him, but I mean, when I say that, nothing but positives about that kid's game and, where he's going to go from here. But no doubt about it, deserving whether he won the online vote or not.
Our next finalist for the Player of the Year, second year in a row, Cam Duffney from Brighton.
No brainer as far as I'm concerned. It's not just what he did during the regular season.
He has a nice flow in that.
It's
too.
what he's been able to do once the playoffs started. And, that's one of our criteria. What did you do in those big games? Well, in one playoff game, he had 7 goals. And in that memorable Saturday afternoon against Stevenson, look at that little deke right there.
Had
a hattie that game,
yeah.
including that penalty shot. So no doubt about it. Keeps getting better and better and better. And that's the thing. I'll go back to 2 years ago. Those sophomores turned into juniors. Those juniors turned into seniors. And you know what? You have a heck of a lot of talent out there in Brighton. And watching those kids grow up has been a lot of fun. Each and every one of them are just a blast to talk to and certainly a blast to watch.
Our third finalist for the Player of the Year, we go to the MIHL and Detroit Catholic Central, Jackson Walsh.
Here's another guy, in my opinion, John, no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. The thing that I like about Jackson Walsh is a lot of times, you see him out there, but you don't understand his productivity. And the next thing you know, I was talking to a couple CC parents, and they said, this is kind of the way it's been all year. Oh my goodness! Walsh has 3 points. Walsh has 4 points, but it's the game that he plays, and doesn't matter who he plays with. Yep. That's a heck of a player, and certainly, John, deserving to be on this list.
And our final finalist for the Player of the Year, and we're going to head to the UP.
Yeah, pretty hard to argue with this guy. And one of the things that I'm going to say about this guy, and this is where we talk about the criteria, when you go into a game, as he did on Saturday, on
Mikey from Houghton.
Mikey Millette, when you go into a game on Saturday and you score 4 goals against a good team like the Sioux, and remember, not in your own barn as well. You are absolutely flying. I think this is a kid that, you saw him play all over the place this past summer. I think it turned him from a very good player to a great player. I think that's the step that you saw him make this year. As I said, this was probably the most difficult time we've ever had whittling this down to 4, but 4 is the magic number in this case. When a kid snipes 4 goals to punch his ticket into USA Hockey Arena, that screams. And again, it's big games against big opponents on the big stage. And that was a huge mitigating factor. So congratulations to him as well.
So congratulations to our Final 4 for the Warrior Hockey Player of the Year. And we always it will be determined after the state finals.
Absolutely. The Tech start tomorrow.
Yep.
And they'll continue through Friday, but we finish it out on Saturday. It usually isn't an easy proposition. I will say last year, based on Peter Rosen, what he did in those 2 games, it was a very easy proposition. He was absolutely dominating on the big stage, and I don't think it's going to be that easy this year.
All right. It's time now for the Wall Award, the Final 4. Long discussions on this as well. We have 6 goalies that made it to the semifinals, but we had to whittle this down to 4. The text messages and everything. But still, before we get to our Final 4 for the Wall, just talk about the goaltending play in the state of Michigan right now.
You know what? This year, if you recall, I'll go back to week 1. A lot of people saying, well, who's gonna show up?
Yeah.
I think you saw a bunch of guys really kind of reveal themselves, and it continued through the playoffs. A couple guys that weren't on the list. I thought Labadie in the Sioux was outstanding. Cyrus at Romeo was another guy that probably deserved some love. And
Nemers from Forest Hill Central.
It's one of those things, John. Again, it's difficult to get on a list of 10. And it's even more difficult to whittle it down to 4. But I think we did a pretty good job of it. Obviously, John, there's an online winner. But I'm going to say the exact same thing about him that I did about the guy that won online for our Player of the Year. This is a guy that I think his play merited him being on this list. Forget about the online vote. But they left nothing to chance and voted him in.
All right, so our online vote winner for the Wall Award, we head out to the west side, Brady Swanson from Byron Center.
No doubt about it. 2 years in a row. You're getting outstanding goaltending, and a huge, huge reason why Byron Center has been the measuring stick in Division II all year, and quite frankly, the favorite. This guy has been solid. I think the numbers support it. I think everybody saw how he played. You saw some of the highlights against CC. Look at him. Look at that. That's a confident goaltender coming to the edge of the blue crease area, taking that angle down. But
and let's talk quick about how last year was McKenzie that was in our Final Four for the Wall, and he's jumped in right away and was like, no, good, nothing.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, that's 2 years in a row, John, that listen up. There's 2 years in a row that they've had a guy come in, and that's key. Obviously they play in front of him. I'm sure being a goaltender, he'll give credit to the guys in front of him. But you're doing something right when you're getting goaltending like that a couple of years in a row.
So we're gonna head back to the Upper Peninsula for our second finalist for the Wall Award. It's Bryant Lee from Houghton.
Yeah, he's another guy. Boy, everybody talking about him, and rightfully so. And a lot of times, John, you want to see how a guy plays against the best. And I just brought up Swanson and BC against Catholic Central. Well, lo and behold, look at that. There he is against Catholic Central. He kept
two of their closest games to Detroit Catholic Central was Byron Center and Houghton this year.
And you're talking about goaltenders that kept them in the game as well. I mean, that's a huge mitigating factor. No doubt about that. He has been stellar. He's been a guy that people have talked about since before the season started. So as far as I'm concerned, John, no surprise whatsoever that he's on the list.
Our third finalist for the Wall Award is our defending Wall Award winner is Levi Piniella from Brighton.
Here's another no-brainer. This is a guy that last year faced some adversity, found a way to get back on the list, and then found a way to win it. This is a guy that, fought off some injury this year, and he's back playing the way that Levi is. And he's not only a fantastic goaltender, he's a great kid. And he is one of the reasons why I think a lot of people are saying Brighton's got a darn good chance to end this streak by Catholic Central. He really is. I mean, the way he controls the game, he's so calm out there, John. I think that settles the boys around him as well.
So our final finalist for the Wall Award. We had a lot of talks about him, but he deserves it. He's the workhorse from Lakeland High School, Paul Baker.
That should surprise nobody.
We got a lot of texts about this kid throughout the season.
Absolutely. I don't remember when we changed it, like January or whatever. And talking to a bunch of coaches, and they all said the exact same thing. And boy, there's nothing better than proving the guys right. And that's exactly what Baker has been able to do. I'm going to say it again. I don't want to take away from his team because that's a darn good team. But when you've got a guy like that, you can tell just watching his demeanor. He's calm, one stop at a time. Don't think about being a hero. Just focus on one stop at a time. And I think that's what he's done, and a huge, huge reason why Lakeland is in the Final Four.
Yep, and congratulations once again for our Final Four for the Player of the Year and the Wall Award. We'll announce our winner after the state finals. And we want to just say quickly, congratulations to the players who made it to the Final Four in our Wall Award and Player of the Year. The ones who did not, be honored that you're on, you're in the top 10. But right now, if you're playing for a state championship right now, your focus is winning the state championship.
Oh, 100%. And I think a lot of times a guy can use it, as fuel as well. Whatever fuel you want to use, just get the best out of your game. Leave nothing to chance. Go out there, do what you have to do. You're here for a reason. You've earned the right to be in the Final Four, and now you got a chance. I mean, maybe 102 minutes away from being a legend forever, and somebody that has earned the right to be called the state champion.
All right, before we let you guys go here, remember that flow competition that we did throughout the season?
I do. Absolutely.
Remember that? We did some voting for it on Instagram.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, we did. And we actually, as he's chowing down another piece of meat. We do have a winner.
No kidding.
And we're going to reveal this right now. He had the most votes. He got all the way to the finals. We did a bracket and everything. Congratulations to Isaac Anderson from Trenton. He's just, he also plays goalie on the team. Wow, look at that flow. So congratulations. He won the most votes.
That's awesome.
And there's my cousin, Caleb Kidd. He did the whole, nomination for him. And we did that in January. Oh, look at that.
That's outstanding.
Look at that. So congratulations to Isaac. We'll come up with something for him winning that award. There's some other pictures. Oh, look at that. I know he bleached his hair blonde now.
Well, I'd like to see that. That's a good look, man. That's outstanding. So many good submissions during the course of the year, John. I love that people have fun with it, and congratulations to him.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun that we have on Hockey Time with all, what we have done over the years. It's just the way that we engage our hockey audience.
Well, I think the most important thing is the product on the ice. I mean, that we're not here without the product on the ice. I mean, it keeps getting better and better every year, and I'm glad that they like to have fun with us and the community likes to have fun with us, John. But to me, it always is about a great product on the ice. We got it really good here in the state of Michigan, and certainly that's not lost on us, and that's what makes this fun.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And this wraps up, I think now, season 5, season 6 of Hockey Time.
I better get some more beef jerky.
It just, I was thinking about this today before tapings. I just remember 2017, 2018. Our boss Lou Batanti at State Champs told our whole staff do a podcast, do a test podcast, see what happens. It could be on anything. I asked you to come in, and the playoffs were starting. I was like, hey, let's just do.
Yeah.
Let's talk hockey. Let's just talk the hockey playoff. And I remember we put it on, SoundCloud or something like that, and it was surprisingly good. And we were just like, okay, let's do it again. And we did it, audio podcast. Then the following year, they were like, well, we decided we're going to put your guys' ugly mugs on camera, and you guys have to talk about it. See, look at that. But I feel proud. As state I'm proud. You're proud. Everyone here at State Champs is how we have grown the game of high school hockey in the state of Michigan, and we have to pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah, it's awesome, John. It's been a fun labor with you. There's no doubt about that.
Even though I torture you a bunch of times, wearing the beanies and all the jerseys and all that stuff, but still, we have a lot of fun.
Oh, it's a blast. And you know what? I mean, everybody's so great to deal with and talk to everybody and all that. We're going to have some disagreements, and some people are going to chirp at you that you didn't pick my team and things like that. But hey,
why are you talking about that team so much?
It's just a blast. I mean, this is great. And I'll say what I said at the beginning of the show. This is kind of bittersweet. I hate when the season ends. I'm not joking. It's like, can we just start the season again? A couple weeks break and then maybe start the season again. So it's a great time. But let's enjoy this last week, and November will be here before you know it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And before I let you go, I'm just signing off here with all the state finals coming up. I was thinking of all this stuff today. I don't know. I'm just having a coming to Jesus moment or something. But of all your times covering the state finals, I've been doing it for 20 years, and you've been at the finals. What's been your best state championship game moment? It could be a team or just a moment. There's so many games that we have covered, from overtime victories and Mike Turner going off to the sunset after winning the
maybe that run that John Lethman and Farmington made.
Yes,
that was awesome to watch. That was really cool to see in person. Yeah, you know what? If you put me on the spot, I'll go with that. How's that?
Exactly. Because I remember that was 2014. That was the same year that Trenton won the state championship. Mike Turner, said to us afterwards that he was done. In Division I, Troy Catholic Central 1. Remember Matt Sharisho? He got paralyzed on that unfortunate hit. They put him on. They brought him on the ice. During the celebration. But I remember with Farmington, because I remember Jason Petrus. He was on that hockey team, and he was going through a lot during that time. His mother passed away, and I know my mom just passed away just around that time too. And I remember he scored a couple goals in that game, and I remember I said hey, I know what you're going through, and I'm here for you.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, John. I know that was a difficult time for you, and certainly, for him to step up at that moment was huge, no doubt about it. But it is, John, just amazing every year. The product keeps getting better and better, and there are so many great memories. And who knows, John, maybe something will happen this weekend that we're talking about 10 years ago from now.
Oh, just like the in 2008, the $8 million overtime state final between Orchard Lake St. Mary's and Marquette, and ended in a tie.
Yeah, I wasn't there that night. Yeah. That's I know that's one I missed.
I was there. I was there for that one. I remember. Sorry, it's the last show. We can do whatever we want. I remember.
Is it really the last show? Don't say that. Really?
Well, last show, the hockey time, and then we're going to do our state finals at the state. But last hockey time.
I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, but I remember that game. Orchard Lake St. Mary's was down 1-0 with under 2 minutes left, and they scored. They tied. I'm going to overtime. I'm all right, this is going to go 2, maybe 3 overtimes. I didn't expect it to go 8.
Yeah.
And then once we were figuring out that it could be records being broken, everyone was like, oh my God, just keep it going. But obviously for health reasons, players were tired out. They had to end it in a time.
Yeah, you know what? John, so many great memories, and, I think it's a great venue, whether it be CompuWare or now USA Hockey Arena. I think it's a great place to hold the final, and some of the crowds will really jump out to me. Some of the games, with the packed houses,
especially in D1.
Those are things to remember, and certainly a weekend of memories to be made now.
Yeah, especially, if it's CC Brighton, CC Hull, CC Heartland. Just those Division I state finals. It's like when they open up. It's like feels like it's like Black Friday at like Walmart. They like run to get to their seats.
Yeah,
standing room only. And like you said a couple weeks ago, you've had times where coaches like, can you let me in?
Yeah, it's amazing how that works out. But I can't wait. Every year is something new. There's always a surprise. Always seems to be, one of the games. I'm not saying that, the chalk's going to go down or anything like that, but there always seems to be a little bit of a surprise. And who's the surprise this year? I guess we're going to have to find out.
Exactly. So all the state semifinals and finals, Thursday through Saturday. You can watch the games on MHSA.tv. I'm going to be out there tomorrow night and Friday night. I have to be in the office here, during the day, but you're going to be there all day on Thursday and Friday. And we'll be there Saturday to do the post-game interviews on the ice.
Yeah, a lot of fun. It's great, John. I'll get out there early tomorrow afternoon, so if you see us, certainly say hello. If you disagree with some of our picks and, you want to yell at us, I'm going to point at Chuck and say it's all Chuck's fault, so you can go after Chuck. But no, all jokes aside, you're right, John. All tomorrow afternoon, all day Friday, all day Saturday, no place I'd rather be.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So good luck to all the teams this coming weekend, and that is it for another edition of Hockey Time. This is the last Hockey Time episode for the season, but we'll have our state champs at the state finals next week recapping the finals. So I'm Jonathon Kidd along with Sean Baligian. One more fist bump.
See you at the rink.
State Champs Hockey Time is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Be curious, make magic. The future of education begins at ltu.edu. State Champs Hockey Time is also presented by Alta Equipment, Michigan's #1 construction equipment provider, proudly representing the industry's top brands. Get the right equipment for your project every time with Alta Equipment. Warrior Hockey is proud to support Michigan High School Hockey Player and Goalie of the Year awards. Warrior Hockey is made for this. The Michigan High School Hockey Coaches Association, celebrating the 50th anniversary of high school hockey in Michigan. For schedule, scores, and standings, go to the hub, mihshockeyhub.com. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. And Michigan Army National Guard, proud sponsor of the Michigan High School Athletic Association.